Hi students, we are going to work on a pretty detailed self-portrait. This is an example of one that's finished and kind of the very smallest you would want to make your head. I'm going to do an example of one with a slightly larger head so we can get a little bit more good detail that you've been learning into the art. I'm using a guideline sheet to remember the steps of how to create a portrait. And I'm going to tilt my paper a little bit so that the head can be a little bit more tilted and less rigid. And then so that I can focus on doing all of the proportions correctly, I set some papers around my art so that it's not throwing me off by being tilted. So this is where you want to create your oval. I do it very lightly and several times so that I can choose which lines I want to use. It's not a circle, it's more like an egg. And this is just to get a rough shape of your head. Everyone's head is actually a little bit different, but it's roughly an egg shape. So you can see I'm doing lots of erasing. I'm doing sketchy, light lines, and this is gonna be a self-portrait, so I'm thinking of my own head. Then I'm gonna estimate halfway down and do a line across, that's the eye line. Halfway down from there is the nose line. Then halfway down from there is the lip line. And then I'm going to center a line down the middle so that I can evenly space things like the eyes and nose. Okay, so on the eye line, you want to visualize that there's room for 5 eyes. One in the middle, one on either side of that, and then one to the side of those. Down below the corners of your eyes is where the side of your nose will go. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in the side of a nose with a few little paragraph line or parentheses lines. Above the eye line, you do a rounded football shape. Below the eye line, you do a kind of smaller bowl shape. It's not quite as round. Remember, we almost never see the top of the iris. So be sure and make your iris round. Maybe you can see under the iris, but you'll almost never see the top of the iris. I'm going to go ahead and put my mouth, my lip, right just ever so slightly above that lip line so that my bottom lip is on that line. Notice the little shapes you can make for an upper lip. And then you can kind of picture yourself in your mind's eye and make sure you really are getting those eyes the right shape. I like to do 2 little indicating lines where my nose starts up at the top. I like to do eyelids. I like to go ahead and approximate some eyebrow hairs. This is a generic face. Everyone's face is different. We tend to draw a generic face that looks a little bit like us without even trying. Once I get an approximate hairline in and do my ears and neck, I'll be getting out a mirror. Remember, the ears go from the eye line down to the nose line as a small flattened ear shape. And I'm going to remove my papers here and do a neck. The neck starts directly down from the corners of the eyes. So it's almost like you've cried down your face, and that's where your neck will attach. Straight down. Our shoulders do not go out like a robot or a box, they go down. So be sure and slant your shoulders down. Maybe your body is turned. You can decide what looks right or get some help from someone else to see what looks right. So now I'm getting a mirror. And I'm gonna start looking in the mirror and looking for those details that make me look like me, like my eyebrows. Are they fuller? Are they thinner? Are they darker? Where are the parts on me that look like big dark areas on my eyelids? My bags under my eye, my nostrils are showing a little bit. So this is where you study yourself. What do your lips look like? Are they thinner? Are they fuller? So spend a long time using your pencil still to find those little particulars about yourself. The next step is to do some dark pen. This will help us pull out those really important dark details of the face even when we begin to paint and add color later on. So I'm going straight in for the eyes. Those usually have the most detail. You also want to really darken your nostrils and maybe your top lip line. Any features like hair, earrings, and the full outline of the bottom of your face and your shirt with any wrinkles that you see. This is my favorite pen, the Uniball Vision Fine. It's waterproof if it really is dry. And later on we'll be using water, so that's good. I'm almost using the pen like a brush. Doing some feathery lines. You do not need to press hard the whole time you're using this pen. You can press lightly and get some thinner lines. Now I'm getting out these very underrated, wonderful Crayola skin tone markers. When I looked closely at these, they kind of break into three categories. One is almond, one is golden, and one is rose. And all of us have undertones. All of us have multiple values of skin, light and dark. And you should do some testing in your sketchbook or on a scrap paper and kind of hold these different colors up to your skin, up to your face in the mirror. The caps do not actually show the color very well, so you will have to do tests on paper, and you'll find some of your light tones, your dark tones, find all your different tones that you would like to use. You might have some pink undertones, so do all of your swatches. And so I'm ready to begin. I added some of my light tones first, but did them on the sides of my face. Then I went in with some darker tones. It never hurts to leave some white. Even if you have the darkest skin in the world, you do have shine where light is really shimmering off of your skin. So leaving some white on your tip of your nose or the middle of your forehead or the middle of your chin, that works too. I'm just adding color where I see it when I look in the mirror. The darker parts are going to be under my nose, under my brows, and under my neck. They'll be dark under my hairline too. And most of these natural tones are what we see in our hair as well. So feel free to move this marker into your hair if those tones are there as well. So it looks a little weird, a little bit abstract. This is where I'm going to use the most fine-tipped brushes I can find and water it down, gently stroking my colors together with just a little bit of water.